Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for All Ohio Students, sponsored by the Ohio Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us today. We do have a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full list at oacac.org. This presentation is also being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website, oacac.org. Now I will go ahead and turn it over.
Thanks, Sarah. I really appreciate it. For those of you who have seen, my name is Danielle. I am an admissions representative here at Columbus State. Actually, to give you a little bit of background on me, I came to Columbus State right after high school. I was super excited to go to college, wasn't really set on what that was going to be in. So I came to Columbus State, and through our preferred pathway partners, I actually ended up transferring to a four-year Ohio State. So I have some Ohio State examples. So I apologize if any of you are Michigan fans, but know that those will be most of my examples. To kind of give you a little bit more about our team. So this is me in the blue on the screen. I know you can see me. I promise I don't always look this casual, but here are our admissions representatives. So between Alexandra, Catherine, Monica, and myself, we actually travel out to about 200 different schools in the Columbus area. And if any of us look familiar, or if you hear from us later on, like that's us, that's what we do. We work with recent high school students. So just checking along here, we've got quite a bit to cover today. We're going to go over Columbus State, some of our academic programs, campus life options, our tuition, our financial aid. Actually, 76% of Columbus State students graduate debt-free, and we think that's an amazing number, and we'd love to help you figure out how you can be a part of that 76%. We're also going to talk about the admissions process, and there's going to be a fantastic slide at the end to go over some contact information for different departments. So who we are here at Columbus State, we are actually a rather diverse campus. We have representation from over 135 countries, and we have students from not only all over Ohio, but all over the US as well. So if diversity is something that you're craving, that is something that we like to talk about, this picture here at the bottom is actually 7 of our recent graduates. And out of the 7 students here, we actually have representation for over 6 different countries. So we thought that was pretty cool. They were a bunch of awesome students to work with. And so we decided to throw them in the slideshow. Columbus State, we actually offer 8 different locations for our students to take classes at. So we do have our Columbus campus located right downtown off of Cleveland Avenue. It's actually kind of close to Fort Hays Career Center, if any of you are familiar with that area. And we also have our Delaware campus up north, located right off of 23, across the street from the Delaware Area Career Center. So just to kind of give you some information on those, the 2 campuses are great, but we also have regional learning centers. So if you are able to see my screen, there is a map of the 270 loop. On the outside of 270, we have 6 regional learning centers. So those RLCs are located in Marysville, Dublin, Bolton Field, Grove City, Reynoldsburg, and Westerville. Cool thing about these is once you are a Columbus State student, you're a Columbus State student everywhere. So if you wanted to take one class at each location every semester, you are absolutely allowed to at no additional cost to you. So it's pretty cool. Because they are regional learning centers, we own parts of the buildings, not the entire building. So not everything is available at each location, but you are more than welcome to check out our website, cscc.edu/locations, to see what programs are available at which locations. Now, during COVID times, we are actually remaining primarily online. The majority of our classes are online this fall, as well as spring of 21. We will remain online. But even before COVID, we had online courses, whether you were trying to do an individual course over the summer while you are going on vacation, but trying to stay on time with your graduation plan, or whether you are working full time or maybe taking care of a loved one. We have entire programs that are based online. So whether you want an online learning situation or an in-person learning situation, we have those options available for you. We also offer weekend and evening classes. So here at Columbus State, we are about working for our students and meeting you where you are. So we have classes 7 days a week. Our earliest classes start as early as 8 in the morning, and our latest classes end as late as 11:30 at night. Now the courses are offered at various schedules throughout each semester, so that does vary from semester to semester, but you can always check those out on our websites. I do see a question in our Q&A section, somebody asking about the application deadlines. Actually, our application for the fall of 2021, so for all of our seniors, that application went live this past July, and you should be able to fill that out pretty much until the end of July of 2021. So our application is completely free. It is entirely online, and we will talk a little bit more about that later on in the presentation, but I wanted to make sure that I got that question answered. Here at Columbus State, we actually have over 200 different programs. And if I were to sit here and list out all of them on the screen, it'd be a little overwhelming to look at. So instead of listing out all 200 programs, we actually decided to break things down into academic pathways. So if you have ever been to our website before, it's cscc.edu. These 8 pathways are actually listed on our homepage. So you can find these 8 boxes right in the middle of our homepage, and kind of within each pathway breaks down more of our programs that we offer. So like the business and hospitality services pathway actually includes majors such as business management, marketing, accounting, entrepreneurship, as well as hospitality services. So whether you are trying to run a restaurant, maybe run a hotel, maybe you want to be a chef, are you trying to be a sous chef or a pastry chef? It's going to show you the breakdown of the different programs within that pathway. So we tried to put similarly related programs in and the same pathways to make sure that if your ideas change, or maybe, if you go into health sciences, that could be nursing, that could be vet tech, that could be sterile processing, medical imaging, a wide variety of things. If your ideas or your passions change while you're in school, we want to make sure that you have an idea of similarly related fields. That way you don't have to start all over if you change your major. Now, Columbus State, we offer 5 different types of programs. We have anywhere from a 1-class certificate all the way through a 2-year associate's degree. And here we actually have 4 different types of associate's degrees. So the first 2 that we like to talk about are here up in the parentheses. These are our Associate of Applied Sciences and our Associate of Technical Studies. I apologize, I keep looking to the left. My presentation's on my left screen and you guys are on my right. But with these 2 types of degrees, these are actually designed for students to get some hands-on experience while they are in school. So some of our programs like modern manufacturing and some of our engineering classes, depending on what your major is, we might actually be able to get you into the workforce while you're here. This could be those kind of programs. We also have like a daycare that our early childhood and education majors actually work in while they're in school. So you're graduating not only with an associate's degree, but also with some experience under your belt, which gives you kind of a nice little leg up on other applicants for the different jobs that you're applying for. Now, if you're like I was in high school, maybe you've never heard of an associate's degree. Well, depending on your field, a lot of the fields like healthcare, computer science, engineering, and manufacturing are actually only requiring around associate's degree, and those fields at an associate's degree level are actually making around $85,000 a year. Now, I don't know about you, but I never would have thought that 2 years of school could make that much money. Now, I will say too, 2 years is a very loose term. So it could be 2 years for a student that is set on following the path that's already written. It could be for the student that is super determined to graduate and get in and get out. It could be maybe a year and a half. And for students that maybe you're trying to take it course by course, make sure you're paying out of pocket, whatever the case is, maybe it takes 3 or 4 years. So 2 years is a loose term, but generally speaking, if you are taking 12 credit hours or more each semester, you're looking at about 2 years for an associate's degree. And on average, right now in the state of Ohio, those with an associate's degree are actually making $44,000 a year. So that's pretty cool, especially if you consider 76% of Columbus State graduates are graduating with 0 college loan debt. And for them to be able to graduate with no debt, go into a field, get some experience, get comfortable with their employer. A lot of employers nowadays are actually paying for their employees to further their education. So if you get them to foot the bill for your next degree, that means, again, no college loan debt or little college loan debt. And that also means that you're using your paycheck for adult responsibilities and life things. So just another thing to consider. Now, we recognize that not every field is going to be okay with an associate's degree. If you're trying to be a surgeon, please go to school for more than 2 years. So this is where our other 2 types of associate's degrees come into play. Those are our Associate of Arts and Associate of Science degrees. So these are basically programs that are designed to help you finish your general education courses. So classes like English, math, history, sciences, all those foundational courses that are going to be required for a lot of majors, as well as helping you with your introduction classes. So making sure sure that your major is actually something that you want to do, making sure that you've actually done the research on your program and your field, and you know how long you're going to be in school, what kind of money you're looking to make after school, and different aspects of your career. So these types of degrees are actually helpful for our transfer partnerships. So if any of you have heard of the preferred pathway partners, it's a great opportunity. They are not the only transfer partnerships that we have, but they have really good connections with us. So at the bottom of the screen here, if you can see that website, it's cscc.edu/transfer. And that will take you to all of our transfer partnerships that we offer through Columbus State. So the 9 here for the preferred pathway, these 9 have specifically said, we like Columbus State. We've loved what your graduates have done. We like that they are coming to us. Let's make this a smoother connection for our students. So they've actually set up an agreement where if you meet a certain GPA, and I say a certain GPA because it kind of varies from school to school, but there's a specific GPA, and as long as you finish a program with Columbus State, we can guarantee you acceptance into the college. So you could be a Bobcat with OU, you could be a Buckeye with OSU, you could be a Cardinal with Otterbein. I don't remember the other mascot, so we're going to stop playing with that. But the preferred pathway guarantees you a spot into the institution. It doesn't necessarily guarantee you a spot into your major, which is where our transfer center comes into play. It's a free opportunity where representatives like myself, but actually from these other colleges, come to Columbus State in order to speak with you. So if you were like everyone else that I went to high school with, and you are bleeding scarlet and gray, and you were ready to go at OSU, and you're like, what classes do I need to take here at Columbus State to get me into, the education program at OSU, you can actually speak to somebody from Ohio State about what classes you need and what kind of GPA. And the cool thing is, whether it's Ohio State or Capital or Ohio Wesleyan, you actually hear from their own college, here are the classes that you take, and they will actually map out your entire bachelor's degree. So they'll show you here the 2 years of classes that you'll be taking at Columbus State and the GPA you need to get into your major. And then here's the last 2 years of your bachelor's degree that you'd be taking with them at their college. And it shows you, here are the classes that will transfer. And the nice thing about it is you're hearing from that college specifically, this is what will transfer, not somebody at Columbus State saying, well, this might work or this could work. You're hearing a definitive, this is what will get you into these programs. So it's a pretty cool opportunity. Like I said, it's a free resource. And the cool thing about the preferred pathway partners is we already know that you're going to go talk to Kate at Ohio Dominican when you're ready to transfer. We know that you're going to go talk to Thomas in the admissions department. We know that you'll be working with Greg at Franklin. We know these people, have close relationships with them, so that's what it makes them a preferred pathway partner. But like I said, we do have other transfer partnerships with schools like Kent State, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Bowling Green, wide variety of schools across Columbus, and even some out-of-state schools like West Virginia. So definitely feel free to check out that website, that's cscc.edu/transfer, to learn more about our transfer options. Here at Columbus State, we are about offering the best option that we can for you. So we are here to help you succeed in any ways that we can. First things first is our professors are dedicated to teaching. So we're not publishing their work, we're not funding their research, not because we can't and not because we don't believe in them, but because it's a very different learning experience from a professor who is very passionate about their work. So these professors are here because they love what they do and they are excited to share that passion and that love of their work with you as a student. They're here to help mold the next generation and make sure that their program and their field continues to thrive. And they are excited to help you become a part of all of that. At Columbus State, we have some really small class sizes. On average, we average about 20 students, which is pretty cool because I don't know about you, but my high school, we definitely had more than 20 students in our classes. So whether you're coming straight from high school or whether it's been a few years since you've been in school, it's a lot easier to get to know people on a smaller scale. Now, I will say that's the average. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, I used to go to Columbus State, had a great experience. My largest class, I was actually one of 35 students. My smallest class, I was one of 8. So the average is 20. I will say the class that I was was one of 35, was like an intro to chemistry course. So it's a very general education course and it's required for a lot of majors. The cool thing about that was my professor was actually also an OSU professor. So a lot of the professors at Columbus State are adjuncts, meaning that they work part-time for our institution, which gives them the creative freedom to actually work part-time at another institution as well. So I was able to work with Ohio State professors, Franklin professors, Capital, and even Otterbein professors here at Columbus State rates with Columbus State classes. So that was kind of cool. It gives you a little sneak peek before you transfer if that's your option. And at the end of the day, we are here to prepare you for success. So whether that is transferring onto a 4-year to complete a bachelor's degree, or whether that is getting you straight into the workforce, we have fantastic departments like career services that would love to help you look a little more into your program and into your field to ensure that you are getting the best information that you need to make sure you are successful with life after Columbus State. College can be kind of expensive, and we know that that can sometimes be a daunting thing for students. So we are here to help you, as like I said, as best as we can. Here at Columbus State, we actually raised our tuition this year, and we still managed to stay under $5,000 a year. So for an in-state student, that in theory means that you could finish your associate's degree for less than $10,000. You could get your first college degree for 10 grand, and that's kind of awesome if you think about it. To put this in perspective for you, we actually did a cost comparison for a bachelor's degree. So here on the screen at the top, again, it shows you our tuition for an in-state student full-time is $4,888. Now you're probably looking at the 2 degrees on the screen and you're like, Danielle, that's a really big jump from the last screen. Well, this screen shows you the cost of of tuition and room and board for a bachelor's degree. So the bachelor's degree on the left side of the screen is for a public university. If you were to go for all 4 years, it's looking about $107,000 for the total degree. So about 4 years of school. Again, this is tuition, so a seat to sit in and and then room and board. And that would be like a roof over your head and a bed to sleep in. So someone to teach your class, seat to sit in to learn the information, and then a place to sleep with a roof over your head. Those are the only things considered in these numbers here. Now, the exact same degree on the right side of the screen is for a student that went to Columbus State for 2 years and then transferred to the same public university to get the same degree for 2 years. So if you, as you can tell, the bachelor's degree where you started at Columbus State is around $63,000, where the bachelor's degree at the 4-year school for all 4 years is around 107. So it's a $40,000 difference. And usually our students that graduate at Columbus State first are getting that associate's degree before transferring. So they come out with 2 degrees, not just one. This is also where I like to put in a little disclaimer. Columbus State is a 100% commuter campus. So we do not have any housing. We don't own any dorms, any kind of housing on campus. So if you are planning on moving out of your current living situation, we have fantastic resources that our students have been successful with in the past. However, since we do not own the building, we cannot guarantee you housing. So if that is something that you are looking into, please feel free to reach out. We would be happy to help with whatever we can. But like I said, since we don't own any of housing options, we cannot guarantee you housing if you choose to come join us. So not only are we affordable, but we have a bunch of financial aid options for our students. I also like to put a kind of note here that financial aid is basically any kind of funding that doesn't come directly from your pocket. So whether you are looking for grants and scholarships, so that free money that you don't pay back as long as you pass your classes, whether you're looking at federal work study, so you know that different colleges around the US will actually pay you to do various tasks for the college, or whether you're looking at student loans. All of these things fall under financial aid. So here at Columbus State, we actually have our own financial aid department, as most colleges do, where we have financial aid specialists. So their whole job is to make sure that you get as much free money as possible while you are here. So like I said, 76% of Columbus State graduates are graduating with 0 college loan debt, and we think that's fantastic. So here are some of the ways that our students are able to do that. First things first is the FAFSA. So hopefully you've heard of it by now, but in case you haven't, FAFSA stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. They have all kinds of different options for you, like grants as well as student loans. And the cool thing about FAFSA is it is a government site. So you can literally apply for FAFSA and it works for for almost any institution in the US. Whether you're trying to go to Harvard, Ohio State, or even Columbus State, we're all going to be using FAFSA if that's something that you choose to fill out. Now, that also means that because it's a government site, not everything is written um, in the most in the easiest English. So things are written out very as a matter of fact. So they have different questions, like there's little circles with question marks off to the side. So if some doesn't quite make sense, you can kind of use that. Or they also have a live chat feature where you can talk to somebody from FAFSA to kind of help figure out what it is that you need to go through that. Now, I will say too, we recognize that FAFSA can be a lot. So we actually offer free FAFSA workshops. So if you go to our website, which I'll show in the next couple slides, you can actually sign up to go through your FAFSA with a financial aid advisor, which is pretty cool. Now, not everyone feels comfortable doing the FAFSA, and some people don't necessarily get as much aid as they thought they would from FAFSA. So we also have our own scholarships. Some of our scholarships do require a FAFSA on file, and some of them don't. So that's a great option. We have scholarships that cover anything from things that you're interested in to ways you've been involved previously, maybe your GPA. We even have scholarships for international students. So wide variety of things. Some of the examples we've included here on the screen are our first generation college students, literally $1,000 for eligible students. Basically, what this means is if your parents or guardians did not complete a bachelor's degree, you might be eligible for $1,000. And I do like to note here too that your siblings are on your generation line. So that should not affect your eligibility. It's solely based off of your parents or guardians. Our Future Scientists of Ohio Scholarship. This is a full tuition scholarship for up to 2 years for anybody interested in the STEM majors. So those would be science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So we could literally pay for your tuition for up to 2 years, just for following some of the guidelines within that. Our honors program is great. There's a $2,000 scholarship associated with that. And that one's pretty cool because our honors program actually only requires that you take one honors course each semester, and you actually get to pick what that is. So if you're like me and math was not something that you liked, it wasn't something that you were good at, you don't have to necessarily take that at the honors level. So that's a pretty cool option. And like I said, it's a $2,000 scholarship associated with that. We also have a Future Leaders Scholarship. Right now it is open to our 2020 graduates, but I believe in March that should switch over to our 2021 graduates. So that'll be open for our seniors again, I believe in March, and that's $1,500. So $1,500 for being interested in shaping the future and going into leadership opportunities post high school. So just some things to consider. These are some scholarships. Cool thing about scholarships too is you are actually able to stack them. So if you were to get that STEM major and maybe that honors major, if they're covering your tuition, that means the honors program could be covering your books, your lab fees, maybe even, helping with gas since we're a commuter campus. Maybe it's helping cover your bus pass or wide variety of things. So just keep in mind, you don't necessarily have to stop at one scholarship, but that's entirely up to you. This is a great slide because it is our admissions process. So first things first, the first thing that you need to do is apply for admissions. Our application is entirely online, is completely free, and there is no essay required. I also like to note here that we are not on the Common App because we thought it would be kind of silly to charge you for something that we don't normally charge our students for. So we are not part of the Common App. We are only on our website, and our application can be found at cscc.edu/apply. It is entirely online, but if you read everything and read really slow, it might take you 20 minutes. So it's nothing crazy. We have little paragraphs under each question to kind of help you further explain what we're asking for in each question. About 2 to 3 business days after you put in an application, you will receive an email from us. And business days being Monday through Friday, excluding holidays. But 2 to 3 business days after you put in the application, you will either hear a congratulations, you are now a Columbus State Cougar, and they will give you your student ID number, or there will be a, hey, we saw your application and we just had a couple questions. This could be maybe you put in your social security number wrong. Maybe you didn't add a major. Maybe you're an international student and we need some documentation. Wide variety brief things doesn't necessarily mean that you're not accepted, doesn't necessarily mean that you did anything wrong. It just means there's an additional step before we can accept you. But make sure you're checking your emails. I will say too, Google really doesn't like our acceptance letters. So make sure you're checking your spam. If 3 business days after you apply, you still haven't heard anything from us, shoot us an email at our admissions department. And again, we'll give that contact information on the next slide. But make sure that you reach out to us and we'll kind of try to help you figure out what you need to do next. Once you have been accepted, once you have that student ID number, we want you to provide some academic records. Whether you have been out of high school for 5 days, 5 months, or 5 years, we would like your high school transcripts. Easiest way to do this right now is for you to call or email your high school and ask to have official transcripts sent to Columbus State. Now, this sounds really silly, but make sure that they're sent to the correct Columbus State. We are Columbus State Community College located in Columbus, Ohio. There is a Columbus State University located in Columbus, Georgia. So again, it sounds kind of silly, but make sure that you're telling them that you want them sent to the correct Columbus State. So again, we are Columbus State Community College in Columbus, Ohio. Once we have your high school transcripts, that's great. We also would like a copy of your ACT or SAT scores if it's been within 10 years. Doesn't necessarily matter what the scores are, they just kind of give us an idea of what classes you are ready for. Now, if you have taken college classes before, we also would like those transcripts. We don't want to have you retake any classes you already have credit for. So whether you did PSEO, whether you've done College Credit Plus, whether you've just transferred from another institution, make sure you reach out to your previous college and request official transcripts be sent to Columbus State. Now, if you did College Credit Plus through Columbus State, you actually don't have to reapply. You're already in the system. Once you graduate and we have your official transcripts, those will flip you from CCP to traditional college in our system. So again, if you are a College Credit Plus student doing College Credit Plus through Columbus State, there's no need to kind of do any of the last steps that I talked about. You will just go on to orientation. If you did College Credit Plus through another institution, maybe that was Ohio Wesleyan, maybe that was Kent State, maybe that was Bowling Green, whatever the case is, make sure that you still reach out to that previous institution. Again, we don't want to have you retake classes you already have credit for. There's no sense in you paying for the same class twice. So make sure that, again, you reach out to your previous college and have official transcripts sent to Columbus State Community College. Once all of these things are done, you will go to a new student program. So anybody who has graduated high school in 2020 and 2021, you will attend a new student orientation. Anybody who has graduated in 2019 or any time before 2019, you will do a new student workshop. They are very similar things. The only difference is the orientation is designed to have a little more high school lingo in it. So we're going to be more up to date as far as who your counselors are, where if you graduated before 2019, it's going to be a little more general speaking. So orientation and new student workshops both are completely free events. Right now we are doing them online. Next summer they might be in person, fingers crossed. We'll see how everything with COVID goes, but these are free events and this is where you will schedule your first semester of classes. So it's very important that you go to either a new student workshop or a new student orientation, but just keep an eye on your email. Once you've checked off everything else on this screen, you will actually be sent an email to your Columbus State student email account, letting you know that you are ready for a new student program and there should be a link for you to sign up. So just some things to remember and think about. This is the best slide that we have ever put in one of our presentations. So this is our contact slide. If you can take a screenshot, if you want to pull out your phone and take a picture, if you have something like a pen and paper off to the side and you want to jot this stuff down, this is the best slide we've ever put in any of our presentations. So these are the best ways to contact these departments. So admissions, that is where me and my colleagues live basically. So if you have any questions about the admissions process, whether that's the application, whether that's sending in documentation, whether that's, if you have to take tests, whatever the case is, if you have questions about just about anything, feel free to email us. We check our email every Monday through Friday. We're on chat. We actually have a live chat. So we do have a representative. It's usually Ziana. She's awesome. She's also a Columbus State alumni, so she's got a great perspective on things. But it is a live human being, so it's not a robot. We do have like an automated response, but it's not a robot. It is a real human. So please give us a little time to respond. We're probably looking up the answers for you. And then there's also our phone number. So that is directly to the admissions department. They know that you have admissions questions and we'll get you right attached to them. Our financial aid department. So again, financial aid covers any kind of money that doesn't come out of your pocket. So whether you're looking at student loans, grants, scholarships, literally any funding that is not specifically from you or your loved ones, you're going to talk to financial aid. So feel free to email them. They have their own email, they have their own chat, and that phone number is our general helpline. So they do know a lot about the financial aid department. That phone number is fantastic because they basically know everything. We kind of call them like our Google of campus, because you have any questions about anything, you call that 5353 number and they will help answer. They either can answer it themselves or they know exactly who to transfer you to have that answered for you. Our International Student Services is a fantastic department. It's actually run by 3 amazing women who are constantly doing as much as they can to make sure that our students are ready and safe and getting the best experience that they can. So there are 2 different emails for our international students, and it depends on what your status is. So if you are an F1 visa holder, you will be emailing istudent@cscc.edu. Again, that is only for F1 visas, istudent@cscc.edu. If you are an international student under basically any other status, so whether you're an immigrant, a refugee, asylee, a DACA student, even permanent residents, because there is, we do need a copy of your green card. So permanent resident, DACA students, immigrants, refugees, asylees, any other status that you may be here on, you will be emailing iss@cscc.edu. If you don't remember anything else for international, remember that email, that iss@cscc.edu. Both, regardless of what your status is, that chat feature is available for anyone that is an international student, and they would be happy to help with whatever it is that they can. So again, if you can see the screen, if you can take a screenshot, take a picture, jot the stuff down, anything like that, now is the time to do so. So I'm gonna give you just a couple more seconds to kind of get that information if you haven't already. All right, at this time, we are going to utilize that Q&A section. It looks a little different on Zoom than the program that we usually use. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the next slide. But if you have any questions, now is the time that we have available for you. If you don't have any questions, I do have some other information that I can share with you about like clubs and organizations, but this is entirely up to you. So if you have questions, let me know. So fantastic question. I saw somebody ask if there is a campus tour video. We do. So again, we have the 2 campuses, our Columbus campus as well as our Delaware campus. If you go to our website, actually, let me see if I can pull that up for us. Give me just a moment so I can share my screen. So if you were to go to our website, it is cscc.edu. So it's literally Columbus State Community College.edu. Over here in the right-hand corner, this is the easiest way to kind of do anything on our website. This little blue circle with a magnifying glass, this is our search button. So any kind of questions that you have about just about anything, you can find here. And it's literally as easy as saying campus tour. So our virtual tours, That might not be it, but we'll try it. Our virtual tours. So we do have our Columbus tour uploaded on this site. So this is Megan, our tour guide, kind of lets you know a little bit more about Megan. She was a Columbus State student. She actually just graduated this spring, so we were really lucky to get her in for that. And then there is our campus tour. It is around a 10-minute video, so I can I'm more than happy to send that to you, the link to you, so you can watch it when you have some more time. Great question. Any other questions that I can try to assist with? Some other cool features, if you go to our website, so anywhere on the page, this banner is super helpful, but we do get a little bored with it. So if you come here and it's not this phone or if it's not any of the other banners that we have, it's not a huge deal. But this is indeed our website. I know that I made that comment about the other Columbus State, but this is us. Our login and learn on page is super cool. It gives a lot of our COVID updates. But here at the top, this red bar shows you our live chat with Student Central. So Student Central is literally the human version of our helpline. They answer just about everything, and this is also where our financial aid department actually has their representatives. This little blue button here at the bottom is actually a chat bubble. So you can actually live chat with anybody in Student Central. And the cool thing about it is whether it's Student Central or admissions or financial aid, if you find any of our pages, we actually all have our own little chat bubbles. So here at the admissions page, we also have one that's specifically for admissions. So like I said, ours is usually Z, but it could be any variety of us, but different departments will have those different programs. Here at the top, we have our purple apply button. Or again, you could have gone to cscc.edu/apply. Cool thing about this is we do have two different applications. So College Credit Plus are for students that are currently in high school and their high school is going to be paying for them to go to school. So if you've already graduated high school, basically if you're over the age of 18, this will not be the one that you use. You will be using our standard application. So you would click standard application and it would take you to a section that actually starts the application. So here on the right side, you would fill things out to set up an application, and on the left side, you'd actually log in to start the application. So that's cool. It's free. It's online. Like I said, it might take 20 minutes. If any of you are interested in transferring, again, you could go to cscc.edu/transfer and it will pop this up. Or if you are on our website at anywhere, you hit this admissions button and the arrow down next to it. I'm sorry, it's the academics button. If you hit the academics button and then the transfer partnerships, it should also show that information. It's going to take you to the same page. Here are our transfer degrees. So it will list out our preferred pathway partners here, but right here above preferred pathways, there is a search all transfer agreements. So regardless of what school you are interested in, that'll show you here are our preferred pathways, those 9 that I talked about during the presentation, as well as some of our other transfer partnerships. So depending on what your major is, depending on what school you're interested in, we have partnerships with all kinds of schools throughout Columbus, throughout Ohio, in some and even surrounding states. Cool thing about our preferred pathway partners and even some of the other transfer partnerships is if you click on a school that you're interested in, it'll show you more information about them. It'll show you, even your point of contact. So who is the transfer person that you will be working with? Erica Miller is super awesome for Franklin University. Greg Haskins is also our contact. So he's the one who actually comes to campus each semester to speak with Columbus State students that are interested in. As you come down, it'll actually show you our pathways. So let's say you were interested in business administration at Franklin. It'll show you, okay, you're either going to do an Associate of Arts, an Associate of Science, or Associate in Applied Sciences and Business related. If you click on it, it actually gives you a little bit of an outline of the classes that you would be taking here at Columbus State as well as with Franklin. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I know it's a little hard to see, but this gives you an idea of here are the classes that you would need to take. So these are going to be some of those more general education courses that I talked about, those foundational courses that you need for just about any degree. So more of the specific ones for your major. And then here are the classes that you might actually be taking at Franklin. So that's pretty cool. It actually lets you know what classes you would be taking instead of just guesstimating on what you might need. So again, this is free. And as you can see, I didn't actually log into anything. This is strictly on our website. So you can either go to cscc/transfer, or you can go to our website, find this little academics button in the blue bar at the top, hit the arrow next to it and hit transfer partnerships. It's a pretty cool option. And like I said, it's completely free, entirely online. So it's up to you and ready for you whenever you're ready. Yeah, that's pretty much Columbus State. I am going to throw up our contact slide one more time for you, just to make sure that if you do have questions, you know who to reach out to. But at this point, I am going to throw it back to Sarah. Thanks so much for coming out.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and give students another 15 seconds to grab a screenshot of this before I put up our last slide.
It looks like I did just get another question, so real fast.
Okay.
They asked do you have to know upfront to join the transfer option, or can you decide later? That is entirely up to you. Some students know exactly where they want to transfer to, and that's awesome. But honestly, whenever you decide that you want to talk about transferring options, you just reach out to our transfer department, or you could reach back out to the admissions department, since that contact info is up here. And we would be happy to get you in contact with whoever it is you need to talk to get that done. So both, I guess. If you know coming in, great. And if you don't, that's fine too.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. When you close out of this window, you will get a link to a survey. We would appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Also, this is just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions on the oacac.org website. In about a week, you will be able to find this session's recording as well as the other session recordings at oacac.org. Thank you for joining us. And we can stay on for another 30 seconds before I close it out if there's any last minute questions.
Thanks again, Sarah.
Okay, if there's no questions left, we can go ahead and end the session. Thank you so much for all the information, and thank you for joining us today. And I'll go ahead and end the session.